What if your childhood taught you to love pain? It sounds dramatic, maybe even offensive, but for so many people, this is the quiet truth running their lives. They're not weak. They're not clueless. They were trained from the start to see suffering as love, and it's destroying their chances at happiness. Most people think childhood ends when you grow up, but for those who grew up in cold, unloving homes, it doesn't. The pain echoes. It seeps into every adult decision, especially in love. Because when your first experience of love was wrapped in cruelty, your brain doesn't run from it. It craves it. That's the trap. If your childhood was filled with screaming, gaslighting, or silence, your nervous system learned to stay quiet. Not because you were okay, but because you had no other choice. You were powerless. You had to adapt, and part of that meant pretending the abuse wasn't that bad. You numbed yourself. You survived by ignoring the pain. And now, you do it again. But this time, it's your partner. You tell yourself it's not abuse. They're just tired. It's not neglect. They're just stressed. And if you feel invisible, well, maybe you're just being too sensitive. But here's the brutal truth. You're not too sensitive. You're too conditioned. You grew up seeing meanness as normal. So when someone treats you like crap, it doesn't trigger alarms. It just feels familiar, like home. And that's where the real danger lies. Because children don't blame their parents for the cruelty. They blame themselves. It's the only way their world makes sense. If I was better, they'd treat me better. That's the lie you swallowed whole. And now it's poisoning your adult life. You give your all to people who give you scraps. You stay loyal to people who wouldn't flinch if you disappeared. You explain away red flags like it's your job, because deep down you believe the problem is you, but it's not. You were a child. You didn't deserve to be mocked, ignored, or broken. And now, you don't deserve to repeat that pain with someone who's just wearing a different face. The reason you tolerate mistreatment isn't weakness, it's skill. It was once your survival strategy. But what saved you then is ruining you now. Most people have a line, a boundary that says, enough. Yours was never built. It was crushed before it could form. So now when someone disrespects you, you freeze. You rationalize. You give them the benefit of every doubt, but never give yourself the same grace. And the cycle repeats. You fall for partners who are cold, selfish, dismissive. You explain away their actions because the alternative, accepting the truth, is too painful. If they're truly unloving, then maybe no one ever loved you at all. And that thought, it's unbearable. So you lie to yourself, not because you're delusional, but because that lie feels safer than the truth. They're just complicated. They've been through a lot. They'll change. They won't. You know what would change? Your life, if you stop making excuses for people who keep hurting you. But that's not easy, because walking away doesn't just mean losing them. It means facing the truth you've buried for years, that your pain didn't start with this relationship. It started long before. Healing means waking up a part of you that's been asleep for decades, the part that knows what love is supposed to feel like. Safe, warm, software. Not a war zone. So try this. Look at your life from the outside. Imagine your best friend told you everything you're living through. The excuses, the broken promises, the quiet tears at night. What would you tell them? You already know the answer. You'd say, leave. You deserve better. Now say it to yourself, because no one is coming to save you. Not your partner, not your past. Only you. And here's the part that no one tells you. The fact that you were hurt doesn't mean you have to stay hurting. You have the right to learn a new kind of love, one that doesn't demand pain as proof, one that doesn't feel like drowning. The suffering you survived as a child gave you strength. But now it's time to use that strength to protect yourself. Not just endure. Rebuild the muscle that was stolen from you, the one that says no more. Not because you're hard or bitter, but because you're finally awake. And you've realized that love isn't supposed to feel like survival. It's supposed to feel like peace.